it up. There we go. Cool.
This is 2021, right?
I'm sorry, what?
I said it's 2021.
Yes. Where have you been that you don't know?
Hey, man, I've been here. This place will rot your mind.
But there's like clocks all over the place.
Yeah, there's not a lot of calendars, though.
I'll give you that. All right, fair enough. What's up, Internet World? We're the News 19 Nerds with another edition of Press Play. I'm Michael.
I'm Leroy.
We're doing a little pre-check here. We're trying something new with the microphones.
So, yeah, tell us what you think of the audio. And can you hear us? Is it clear?
Yeah. And we'll see. I mean, yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got is yeah. So we got a kind of a big topic that we'll do a deep dive in. We almost need a deep dive stinger over that.
It would be nice if we had like a promotions department that helped us out.
I mean, they did the best they can.
No, he didn't.
I said they. I didn't say he.
No,
I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about Courtney.
Courtney does a great job.
Yeah.
Mary does a great job.
I ain't talking about Anakin.
I said what I said, sir.
All right.
I said what I said. So you guys let us know what the audio sounds like. We're trying some new things. If anything, Zaylin Maru says it sounds good. So for this live stream, we're in 2021. We're trying to do some new stuff. We are.
I mean, we're in like the end of the second quarter of 2021, but all right.
It's only May.
That's the end of the second quarter of 2021.
I don't look at things like quarters. I look at things of how are you going to better yourself today? How are you going to advance and try to get better? I try this every day. Now, I don't mean I work and it works every day. Because Lord knows I fail quite often.
Okay.
Because cool. I am surrounded by these wonderful people.
Okay.
But you can't say that I don't try every day.
Okay.
I care. I do care.
Fantastic. What am I even talking about? Listening to you, you got me.
The topics.
Well, I mean, yeah, we have a deep dive topic, kind of talking about awards season, what it is, what it isn't, and why certain movies are excluded from it. Whether it's high, like popcorn style movies or comic book movies or whatever you want to call them, versus highbrow fantasy movies and all that kind of stuff.
I say nerd culture. I say. I say what basically the topic came up and what really brought it to the forefront was right now the Hollywood Foreign Press, who is responsible for
IMAX. We agree it is definitely a trying week, and we try to stream as much as we can. We appreciate the people that are here and whoever comes in. Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
So the Hollywood Foreign Press, who is responsible for the Golden Globes, has been in some controversial, some hot water lately. Mm-hmm. NBC announced this week that they're not going to broadcast the 2022 Golden Globes. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of a piggyback off of our conversation last week when we were talking about the news and why certain things, when it comes to nerd culture, doesn't seem to crack national news. Mm-hmm. And it's because our stuff, we're not in the rooms that these decisions are being made.
We're not in the room where it happened. You know what that's from. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, as Michael said, we're not in the room where it happens.
Yeah.
And some of our culture is not taken seriously.
Sure.
Whether it's video games, comics, movies, these stories, this culture is not taken seriously. And we found out recently, if our stuff is like, we're not even in the room or on scale of some of the stuff that should be taken seriously.
Right.
So how in the hell is our little stuff gonna crack? Mm-hmm. So basically, the Hollywood Foreign Press is comprised of 87 members. They're based out of Los Angeles, and they are in trouble right now for having 87 members and not one of them is black. And they have been accused of being able to be schmoozed and bought for their nominations. And the reason why this is important is because it goes to the idea of, are these awards legitimate or can they be bought? And all art is subjective. Mm-hmm. I may not like certain things. I may not like that thing. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means
I have taste. You don't. Go ahead.
No, you don't. Sir, you do not. You can taste things, but you don't have taste. So it brought up this idea of like, let's dive into what the controversy is and what does that mean for our culture.
So I think it's a couple of things we need to point out. So it is on record that there are no black people, brown people. Well, I'll say black. No black people on the HF Hollywood Foreign Press.
Yes,
they do have
on their
people,
board,
right? Are members.
Members. And at 87, they don't have one black person. We don't.
Now they do have other people, other minorities, because they do have people that are of Asian descent.
Yeah. So
there was a quote, and I'll find it once you start talking again. I'll find it somewhere, but it's in an article that one of the members says. The reason why they don't have any black people is because none of them have applied.
Well, here's the thing to counter that. So basically how this all came out was before the Golden Globes this year aired, the LA Times did an expose. Mm-hmm. They had been working on it ever since the nominations came out the year before. So the reason why they did this expose, they did this deep dive, as you call it, to use your term. Mm-hmm. Last year, certain shows were shut out from the nomination process and movies, and people were like, that's interesting. One was I May Destroy You, Insecure, The Five Bloods, and Mama Rainey.
No, not Ma Rainey.
It
was Judas and Black Messiah.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, everybody loved Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah. Those were noticeably absent, and it had been a trend for a while that people had noticed these things. Mm-hmm. So the LA Times did an expose. The story dropped before the Golden Globes happened, and all of these little tidbits came out. The Golden Globes happened, but it didn't get rid of the controversy. They announced that they were going to make changes. They announced that they were going to try different things. Their excuse was no black people were hired, had applied, or they weren't ready. Well, the LA Times, in subsequent reporting, Variety came back and said, you remember, taste the soup.
I thought you were doing that from Jurassic Park.
No.
Okay.
So basically what had happened was these 87 members, I don't want to call them snobs because I don't know them. I don't know but they're a clique, and there are cliques inside this clique.
Sure.
A woman had applied recently, and basically what they noticed is that she wasn't cut of the same cloth that they considered themselves, and they froze her out. One of the reports is that she was a real journalist. She was a black woman who was actually a real journalist. And what the LA Times exposed was that the Hollywood Foreign Press is not all journalists.
Right.
Some of these people are pseudo-journalists or do not have the credentials that would classify them as journalists.
I mean, a good way to compare it is it would almost be like a social influencer, right?
Yes.
Somebody who necessarily doesn't have the qualifications or went to a journalism school, but they may still report on journalism stories on a YouTube channel like us or whatever, or anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what has been found out is that through the years, the Hollywood Foreign Press has not had a black person on there as a member for at least 20 years. Now that lets you know that if they don't have anybody from that background who's immersed in the culture, then you're not going to get people who nominate movies or properties from that perspective. It has also came out that members of the Hollywood Foreign Press, when they would go to screenings, would fall asleep.
Sure.
Scarlett Johansson has now since come out and has accused press junkets or press conferences with members of the Hollywood Foreign Press as being sexist, almost harassing them. So this has all come out because last year, Emily in Paris, a Netflix show, had 2 Golden Globe nominations. And critics were like, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. What is going on?
What's Emily in Paris?
Emily in Paris is a show about Emily in Paris.
Okay.
And the show is basically one of Netflix's, or one of these shows that you would see It wasn't critically acclaimed. It wasn't this grand big show where it got a lot of buzz. One of the writers even or producers even said, "We were shocked. We got
There are better
nominated."
shows out there.
Basically,
Yeah.
What happened is that 30 members out of this 87 member group was flown to Paris on a press junket, and they got to see and schmooze and read scripts. And they basically got won over by Emily in Paris's production and kowtowing to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that got the LA Times. Well, I didn't want to put words in her mouth because I couldn't remember if she said they were actually sexist but yeah. Basically, when Emily in Paris got two nominations and Insecure didn't, or I May Destroy You, which basically people were like, what in the world is going on? LA Times basically did their job.
Sure.
And this story dropped. The reason why we thought this was important, because we watch award shows, we watch the stuff, we love. You talk about when you watch the Oscars, or what makes you want to see a movie, is that it's nominated for an Oscar.
Before the pandemic, or for at least, and I wasn't always doing it, but before the pandemic, for maybe 3 or 4 years prior to that, whenever the Best Picture nominees were announced, AMC would do a kind of a promotion where they would show all of the contenders over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so I made it kind of my little personal mission to go and see those movies, because it kind of expands my horizons on something I wouldn't necessarily reach out for. And it just kind of makes me think, oh, here's an interesting movie, and it gives me a different perspective on stuff. So I like doing that. Couldn't do it last year because of pandemic, and I didn't do it this year because they didn't do it yet because of pandemic. So,
and it's interesting that because that's the whole rub, that these movies get nominated. It allows for more productions of this person or these companies or this director to get noticed, and then that sets them up. So if you can basically buy the award is meaningless. But also the bad thing is that the Golden Globes was looked at as a bellwether for the Oscars.
Right.
If this movie was nominated, could it sweep and go through and then get nominated? And so that's one of those things. And now it's come out that you can basically buy the award.
And it definitely ties into the idea of, favoritism in Hollywood, and, kind of smoozing people to get awards and stuff.
Yes.
A big thing that came out that's well known, whatever his personal history may be, Harvey Weinstein and the Weinstein Company would do that a lot. Mm-hmm. In terms of,
he changed the game.
Yeah, he
Miramax.
They kind of came up with the idea of, this is how you can get awards.
Yep.
And people kind of followed suit with them of, you pay people this, or maybe you don't necessarily pay somebody, but you may give them an interview with an actor in the movie. And I'm like, oh, so that they think of you more favorably because they know they had some type of interaction on the
connection with you.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that came out was that the Hollywood Foreign Press, these 87 members, were basically fans. Mm-hmm. There's no other way to put it. They were basically fans who were voting or nominating people, who were nominating people, then voting for people who were nice to them, who allowed them to take pictures with stars, who were given things from the set, given scripts. And it got me thinking, that I was like, we talked about the fact of our things not being taken seriously. Well, that's why. We can't even get shows like Insecure nominated for a Golden Globe. What makes you think WandaVision's going to be up there?
Yeah.
If a show like Insecure, or if a show like I May Destroy You, which are both HBO properties, Warner Brothers properties, can't get nominated, what hope does The Watchmen have?
Ryan Porter says, I have to say, these award show movies are usually not my taste. And I get that, Ryan Porter. I used to be that way too.
I'm that way now.
That was kind of the reason why I forced myself to see what these movies are, because it's so easy to be like, oh, this movie sucks. But I feel like at least if I'm watching it, I have a better idea of what it is. So I'm more informed to say I don't like it.
Well, see,
also,
go ahead.
To tie into that, I think that's a big thing for most people, that most of these movies are not your taste. But I wonder, would that change? You're so slow. I wonder, would that change if more popular movies were being included in this stuff, and then maybe it would be your taste?
Well, see, and that's so. We're now the reverse, because when I was a real big cinephile. I know for a fact there were thousands of my dollars that went to Blockbuster Video. I'm trying to remember what the other one was.
China has landed a rover on Mars.
Good for them.
National Geographic.
Good for them. And what is it? I'm trying to. And Asian American. What's the
Pacific Islander?
Yeah, was that last month or was that?
That's now.
Okay, good. Good for them. Good for China.
Yeah.
For this.
No, we're not.
I just for this.
Okay. Yeah.
Not making a political statement.
Yeah.
Just for this.
Yeah.
But I was like that. I was really into the award shows. Who was nominated? I really was in it because I loved film. I still love film.
Mm-hmm.
My heart was broken, and I admit, and I can tell you the day it happened when Shakespeare in Love beat Saving Private Ryan.
Sure.
And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to Harvey Weinstein and Miramax. They knew how to schmooze. They knew how to do this. And I was like, from a film, and I got in an argument with a guy that I knew and that I used to work with, where he was like, well, look, Shakespeare in Love was, I said, Shakespeare in Love was a nice film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not dismissing Shakespeare in Love and saying it's a bad film.
Right.
I'm telling you, Saving Private Ryan was a generational film that you didn't see anything close to it for at least 20 years until Dunkirk.
Mm-hmm.
They're not on the same level. And the fact that Shakespeare in Love won over Saving Private Ryan
mm-hmm.
showed me that I was like, these awards aren't exactly, you're not something, I knew something was hanky then.
Sure.
And then I learned as I got older and I started paying more attention. So I was on the opposite end, but I got back into it once more of our stuff that we never thought we would see.
Sure.
Come to the screen.
Right.
And then it's like they were shut out. We remember famously the popular award the Academy Awards was going to give that year. And it was basically just a way to get more people to watch the shows.
Man, that was an idea that lasted for like a month, maybe
No,
not even that.
It was a little bit longer than that.
But they didn't do it.
The backlash
Yeah.
was severe.
Yeah. I think this is interesting in the fact that it goes back to a topic we've talked about before in terms of bringing in new blood and younger
Mm-hmm.
people, because in terms of being, this snobbish idea, elitist or whatever, it definitely skews toward people that are older. We talked about it when was Uncut Gems and
That was
Hustler?
that was
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yep, before pandemic.
Because
Adam Sandler and Jennifer Lopez turned in great roles in their respective movies, and
so did Eddie Murphy for Dolomite.
Right.
Because you thought he was going to win.
I really liked him. And I don't remember what the reporter was or what the story was.
I remember.
I don't remember who wrote it, but they brought up the fact that they talked with...
It was the New York Post.
Okay, they brought up the fact that they talked with a member of... And I don't think it was for the Hollywood Foreign Press, but
it
was
was
for the Oscars.
it was the Academy.
And they were saying that Jennifer Lopez didn't respect our organization enough and she didn't bow down to us and appreciate what they were. And that's why she got snubbed.
And so I remember that story because I remember us talking about it because Jennifer Lopez, they felt like if she turned, and this is the thing that they said, and the person, it was an older woman, she said she didn't like the fact that Eddie Murphy campaigned the way he did. They didn't like that he said on Saturday Night Live, watch his movie or that kind of thing. And they didn't like Adam Sandler. They thought the movie was good.
Mm-hmm.
But they said, show us another role like this and maybe we'll... Basically telling you, we'll nominate you when you prove this wasn't a one hit or whatever.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that when you have these little insular groups, these little cliques, and they determine what is... Because whether we watch them or not, they actually are a part of our culture. They're a part of our history. These movies are actually a reflection of us that says what's going on during this time period. When certain movies and certain people are shut out, that's not a direct representation of what's going on. The biggest snub for some people was Brokeback Mountain and Crash.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people felt like Crash was a subpar pandering movie, and Brokeback Mountain was a movie of the generation that showed two men in love, but it wasn't recognized the way it is. And think about it right now. Which movie do you know more about? Crash?
Yeah, Brokeback Mountain. Yeah.
So it goes back to that whole idea of shutting people out and not taking people's performances seriously.
Zayla Maru brings up Academy Awards has the reverse problem. I guess talking about for the Hollywood Foreign Press, membership should have a term instead of lifetime. I mean that is a
term limits is popular now.
I mean whether you want to get political or not, but that's always a big thing that people campaign on, and making people have term limits, whether it's elected officials or whatever. I mean, for any type of foreign body, whatever you're going to be in, as opposed to having a lifetime membership. It does kind of almost keep the playing field honest, because you're always bringing in new people and you're cycling people out.
It also brings up a point of how this is the thing that bothered me the most about the Hollywood Foreign Press, was the murkiness of how these things get nominated and the process behind them. When you don't have a transparent way to see how these films are picked, these television shows are picked, then it's really a mystery. And when that happens, you can put whatever you want up there. It's not my idea. I don't want to claim it. But somebody had brought up the idea that because there are thousands, I want to say the Academy has thousands of members, because Hollywood Foreign Press only has 87. They are the smallest group with some of the most influential power.
Sure.
Someone brought up that instead of everybody being able to vote for everything, there should be committees. In other words, you group of 500 people are specifically foreign films. You 500, you are animated. You best picture, and you have a list. And then those things, and then we rotate so that you're not responsible for, because it is an arduous task
to watch
every movie.
Sure.
I don't want to watch every movie. It's hard enough watching everything nerdy. Like, I still haven't finished
Jupiter's Legacy.
No, I've done that. I did that.
I didn't finish Jupiter's Legacy.
Well, that's.
I mean, partly because
you
I don't care.
But the thing is,
there's also there's a bunch of other stuff that I'm still watching. I'm still trying to finish Schitt's Creek because I'm loving that. So I mean,
so imagine if you're in charge, or you're on the Oscar thing, or you're the Academy, and you're like, I gotta watch all of this.
Yeah.
And I still have to do my job. So, and then again, you have older members, like you mentioned, who are shutting out, who have just as much power, if not more, of influence to say, no, we're not going to nominate Hustlers. We're not going to nominate Uncut Gems. We're not going to let Eddie Murphy. And you wonder, and this is what goes back to that idea when we talked about, why do certain black people only get nominated for certain roles?
Like a villain or whatever.
Or for the stereotypical roles that they do, why did those people get nominated? And now you realize it's because the people on the boards, or the people who sit on these committees, only see those people in those roles.
Right.
If you can't see a person of color or a person who has a different background than you as an equal, or someone who has a story to tell, you're never going to nominate that person for it.
Shameless plug for something that we did. Our nerd forever, Lauren Thomas, when she was still here at WOTX. The time when you
gotta pour out a little bit.
You're right. The time when you couldn't come, but she and I got to interview Coulter at Benedict or whatever.
I put that together too.
You did. I say that to say we got to interview Luke Cage's Mike Coulter, and he had a statement where he was saying he didn't realize how much of an impact he had on people, because in his mind, as he was growing up, he was saying he was always able to envision himself in anything.
Yeah.
But he didn't realize how much of an impact he had until he saw little kids coming up to him, realizing, oh, a black man in a non-stereotypical role as a hero, not doing things like being a thug or a pimp or whatever, really opened their eyes as to what
it
things
resonated.
are possible.
Yeah.
And I say all that to say, I mean, if you always see somebody in the same light, it kind of gives you tunnel vision, and you're just closing yourself off to things.
And it's one of those things where that's why Black Panther was so important, and not just Black Panther, but movies of just different time periods, different groups of people, different. I personally went out of my way to watch more foreign films because, I'm trying to find a way to say that I know what it's like in America. What is it like other places? What is it like movies like Roma? Like, I don't know what that life is like.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love a good story. I also love a good science fiction, shoot people in the head kind of story. But I love a good story. I don't know what your life is like over there.
Yeah.
I don't know what your life is like in Australia. So I watch these movies to help inform me a little bit, and I know that that's not the only way to inform yourself, but movies are a way to see and shine a light on something that you may not know about.
Right. I want to hit on two things that Ryan Porter brought up. First thing, Ryan Porter let us know as we share in the chat. You had a comment, I haven't seen Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, The Father, none of that push stuff. And I'm curious, do you actively avoid things that are pushed onto you as Oscar bait? Or is it just a thing if they don't click with you or whatever? I'm just curious about that. That's one. And then also, Ryan Porter says, I like to nominate the News 19 Nerd Awards. We've thought about that. We just haven't had the time to really put that together.
Man,
one, it's a lot of work to do, which I'm not saying we wouldn't do it. We just haven't done it. And two, we're kind of lazy. It's a combination of all that.
It's a combination of lazy, but it's not necessarily lazy. Like, I think it was IMAX who said, you needed this because this week was hard. Trust me when I tell you, for us, this week was hard.
Mm-hmm.
There were days, like I bitched to Michael about my problem yesterday and how that was hard for me. Michael, it was hard for him in the early part of the week. So it's like we commiserate together. This week has been hard, so sometimes we would like to do stuff, and then real news happens, and it's like we don't have the energy to do because it's like you're burned out from this video or this story. So we are working on it, and trust me, we want to do it. Because actually we think it'd be kind of fun. Because it'd be interesting to get your take on certain things and and see and then we have the fan poll. I love that. So I bring this up to say, and let's go take Rayshawn K. Training Day was not Denzel Washington's best performance. I agree, but if Denzel Washington can't get nominated for Malcolm, or can't get win for Malcolm X, and wins for Training Day, do you think Black Panther's getting up there? And that's what the problem is. We're not in those rooms. We're not in those bodies. And so until we get our people, and I say our people as nerds, until nerds are sitting on the Academy, until nerds are in the Hollywood Foreign Press, until nerds are there to push Battlestar Galactica should have been nominated for awards, you're not going to see it. And that's just facts, and it's sad.
I want to turn the conversation slightly, still talking about movies or whatever, but you are the movie comic book person, I'm the video game person.
Yes.
And I say that to say, we've talked about the video game awards, and for a while, they were kind of the Joke Awards, the Spike Awards or whatever. They were,
and Jeff Keighley's done a really good job.
The video game awards are very well respected now, and what do we think they're doing differently that maybe Hollywood Foreign Press or the Oscars could do to get a larger crowd of people in it?
I think part of it is that one, here's the rub with the good and the bad that our community has. Fans are passionate about whatever it is.
Everything.
Like we've made jokes about certain things, and then it comes to find out someone's passionate about that.
Sure.
I love to needle him about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There are Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fanatics out there.
Do you remember we did the reaction for, it wasn't the last season, maybe it was the second to last season. And people were upset because I wasn't loving it enough.
And I was like,
I'm the fan.
I was like, it wasn't like they were on my side, but they were attacking you more than me.
Yeah, it's like,
and I was
I'm the one that likes the show.
I'm the one talking I was like,
whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
But I say that to say that fans of the nerd culture, the nerdy things, we are passionate. It's fans are short for fanatic. One of the things, and it's our shows are not doing the numbers the Oscars or Golden Globes are doing because we're not on those networks.
I'm seeing part of IMAX's conversation. I'm like, what's...
Yeah, that's... Ooh.
Yeah, IMAX, you doing all right, man? I'm seeing part of your conversation.
Yeah.
I hope everything is all right.
We thought we were having a bad week. Mr. IMAX here is having a horrible week.
I'm glad we're able to give you a little form of entertainment then, man.
But one of the things, Michael, what you were saying is we're going to show up for our things. movies, they want to be the it thing for everybody.
Yeah.
They want everybody to watch. Whereas the nerdy stuff, I'm not saying they don't want everybody to watch, but the nerds are going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And also Jeff Keighley, and I was reading, one of the things that Jeff Keighley did, and he made a point of, was involving industry people and celebrities, but also making sure that manufacturers, developers were a part of the award show, which the Academy and the Hollywood Foreign Press don't do.
Do you think it, and I'm just thinking this now, would it be interesting if they mixed their awards with like new trailer reveals?
See, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Jeff Keighley goes out of his way to get with Microsoft, Sony. I was about to say Data East. Woo!
Time loop. Where are we going? What? Data East.
Woo!
All right. Bring out the NES, man.
I almost had a senior moment.
Yeah.
But
okay.
he goes out of his way for Activision. He goes out of his way to say, hey, we're an award show, but this show is about video game culture. So I'm going to not only have awards, I'm going to bring out Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to bring out Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring out Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you that this is out because this is for you. It's not just recognizing, it's about and he may not say this, and I may be putting words in his mouth, but he's about advancing the industry forward.
Sure.
The Oscars are a bunch of snobs. The Academy are snobs. I can say that because they have done snobbish things.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want the common man a part of their thing. They want you to watch it, but they're not trying to advance film and cinema because they only want the movies that they want to be nominated to be a part of the club. Because here's the thing. Do you realize that if you're nominated for Best Foreign Film, you can't win Best Picture?
Really?
Yep.
Oh, is that kind of their way of, well, now you got this, so then you can't. Yeah.
See? Well, like, really? If you win Best Foreign Film...
No, that can't be right.
Yep, it is. If you...
No.
Yep.
Because Parasite didn't it win both?
Nope. If correct me if I'm wrong, but go back and look.
Uh-huh.
If you're nominated for Best Foreign Picture, you can't win Best Picture.
Okay. I don't know about that.
Yeah. It's... And there's some weird rule that they have for that. So they have to be very specific in how they nominate certain things. They're not playing new trailers. Like you wanna really get people into watching your award show.
Mm-hmm.
Start, like you said, start putting some trailers out there. Start showing us behind the scenes of movies.
Yeah.
Show us. And I know it's going to be canned, but start showing us some performances from the film of have some of these actors act some of that. I don't know what you need to do, but I know that they're not about advancing all films.
Right.
They're about advancing the films that they want you to see.
Right.
Because let's be honest, if Heath Ledger hadn't have died for The Dark Knight.
Oh, they wouldn't have recognized it. I don't think he would have recognized it, which would have been a travesty.
Boom. Lord of the Rings. If Lord of the Rings hadn't have done the numbers that it did and the technological achievement it was.
Which won picture? The last one?
That was the last one.
And people always say like that was kind of a mea culpa for not nominating the previous ones or whatever.
And that's...
Now granted, it is a good movie, but the other ones were good movies too.
But I will say this: the Twin Towers, or is it two towers?
Not Twin Towers.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Nope.
Two
Towers.
And I will say this, and hot take: Two Towers is better.
Then Return of the King.
Yep. Hot take: Two Towers is better than Return of the King.
I won't agree, but I won't disagree because I'm Tolkien ain't in my blood like that I care.
The reason I will say the beats that happen in Two Towers, to me, is better than Return of the King. Okay. And I will say this only because Return of the King had 7 endings.
To keep going.
If you didn't have 7 endings in Return of the King, I might not have said that.
Yeah.
But you had 7 endings.
Yeah.
So, but that's one of the things that I think is different from award shows, the video game awards, versus the Oscars. The Oscars have always been snobs. Mm-hmm. And they have always been did you see this film? The piano, oh my gosh, the acting. And then it's like, well, let's be honest. Was it a good film or was it not a good film? And when you go back and you look at some of the films that were not nominated or weren't even recognized, and you're like, really? The fact that Toni Collette was not nominated for Best Supporting Actress in Hereditary was criminal. And I don't even like horror movies. What did David Cooper say? David Cooper has a tidbit for us.
Oh, he was saying, with its Best Picture nomination for the 92nd Annual Academy Awards, Parasite has become...
Oh, okay, so I was wrong about that. Okay, good.
Cool.
But they have some kind of rule, like, I'm trying to remember is it Best Foreign Language Film or International Feature Film?
They don't. I don't think it's called foreign language anymore. I think they got switched to international.
I forget what it is, but there's some kind of rule. They have some kind of rule. They have these weird arbitrary rules.
Sure.
Why is it only 5 or 10 movies? Thank you for the update, David Cooper. Why is it only 5 or 10 movies?
You mean as nominations?
Yeah. If it's 8 movies, let it be 8 movies.
Yeah.
This is the thing, and if you won Best Academy Award for Animated Feature, guess what? Your ass needs to be up there for Best Picture because you were the best animated feature of the year. Mm-hmm. So these are little things that I don't understand. And I say that to let people know that for those people who are like, these films aren't for you, there's a point to it because they're not trying to be for us. Some of them are going out of their way to exclude us because a film like Hustlers was a good movie. Uncut Gems was a good movie. Mm-hmm. Dolomite, was it My Name is Dolomite?
My Name is Dolomite.
So the fact that those were not nominated, they don't want us to be included. So imagine if this shows up. Mm-hmm. Hell no. It's not getting. You're not getting up there. Now I will say the Hollywood Foreign Press sometimes does a good job. They were the first people to notice Mr. Robot.
Oh, were they?
They were one of the. So sometimes.
Oh yeah, because I guess that would have been them, and they probably. So I guess it also would have been them for.
Rami Malek.
No. I mean, for what was the other pop culture? Orphan Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are times that they do that every now and then.
Sure.
But that doesn't excuse you for 20 years not having a black member.
Sure.
It doesn't excuse you for your sexist and harassing comments and not doing a good job. It doesn't excuse you for, and again, I push you to go read the article or read articles about David Cooper. Thank you. No slaves, no criminals, no hoes, no noms. If I could tell you every year, if Monique, I picked that one. I knew Monique was going to win. Mm-hmm. She was horrible. Mm-hmm. And guess what? She won.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with these things. So, of course, if you can't get some of these critically acclaimed people up there when they see us, when you can't get that nominated and that to win, you think Infinity War's going up there? Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but you're not. It's just not happening. We're not in those rooms.
Sure.
So, but Ryan Porter, it is because you can't win best actor or actress if your film isn't nominated for best film, so they expand the films nominated. Now, one of the things Ryan Porter brings up is they did expand for the Oscars the film nomination because they wanted to attract more people to watch, so more films had an opportunity.
Sure.
That doesn't mean your film will win. That just means you.
Yeah. You anything else on this?
No, I'm done. I'm on my soapbox.
All right. Surprise topic, which I think you'll ace this. Your game, mm-hmm. Mass Effect Super Dragon Ball Z Hyper Fighting Legendary Edition came out. Whatever it's called. Doesn't
Legendary
matter.
Edition.
Sure. Mm-hmm. It's out now. The question, don't fall. Because I will laugh, but I will also check to see that you're okay.
No, I want you to save that.
I will laugh first.
I need you to save that clip and make it a GIF.
Okay, cool, great. So the game came out. The question I have, and this is something that I saw Kind of Funny Games talk about, mm-hmm. But I think it's interesting. Was it Kind of Funny? Some group that I watch. I feel
Probably
like it was Kind of Funny.
You do watch Kind of Funny.
But they have brought up an interesting question. With this game coming out, is BioWare now saved? Because BioWare's been in trouble. after giving us hits like Jade Empire, the original Mass Effect trilogy, Knights of the Old Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, that was them.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Because Knights of the Old Republic was first, and then they did Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't have done Mass Effect without Knights of the Old. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
Then they kind of had some issues with. Now again, you got me a good deal on Mass Effect Andromeda, $10. I had a good time with it for $10.
11 with tax.
Yeah. That wasn't great. And what was the other game that they dropped? Anthem. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I can't even think that I can't even pop titles together. BioWare's kind of reeling at the moment. Is this the start of like a renaissance for them? And I say that as a comparison. Capcom, known as being great, putting out stellar titles. Then they kind of had a stint where nothing was really popping. Mm-hmm. Then maybe around Resident Evil 7 and Monster Hunter World, people were like, "Oh, Capcom is back and they're making incredible stuff." So do we think like maybe this Legendary Edition re-release or whatever is going to be the start of BioWare back again?
Capcom's not back until they do this.
I mean, there is a Strider.
No, I want a next-gen Strider game. Yeah.
So
I'm calling it.
I'm not against that, but
don't. This is what I will say about this remake foolishness. No, and I love Mass Effect. Remember we talked about Mass Effect. We were like, "Are we gonna play it? No, I don't want to go back." I'm thinking about buying that shit, man. I'm so hyped right now. Like, I've been watching people unbox the Masters Edition, the N7 helmet, the Normandy's back. I'm thinking about having sex with Asari. I'm like, yo, I'm back. Really? You didn't pick Liara?
I don't know what to say to that.
She's 300 years old, but that was my boo, man.
Katie, sorry.
She's seen Mass Effect. You want to know how we bonded? She played Mass Effect, son. That's how I knew I was going to marry that woman. She knew what a Krogan was.
This is not where I thought this conversation was going, but all right.
This is your fault.
It kind of is.
You brought this up.
I guess.
I say that to say no. Mm-hmm. Because you are not back until you make something new. Mm-hmm. Because this is the problem that I have with Capcom. I have a problem with everybody who does this. Are you a great band if you have stellar hits in the 70s and 80s mm-hmm. and make trash for the rest of your career and then just cover the hits again?
I mean, you were a great band at one point.
There you go. You were a great band.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you're a great band now.
Mm-hmm.
That's this, and I say that to say Capcom, to say.
So we weren't talking about Capcom, but okay.
I got problems with Capcom. Same thing with Square Enix. No, because guess what? You're just reliving your glory days. Mm-hmm. You're just putting out a greatest hits album mm-hmm. to complete the contract so that you can do whatever it is that you want to do or get out of that contract. No, you're not back.
So what does BioWare need to do? Like,
BioWare needs to deliver something new. In other words,
so this new Mass Effect game wouldn't do it for you. Oh,
don't get me wrong. I'm probably gonna buy it. I'm gonna be dumb and probably give them my money.
The new, what are they doing? A Baldur's Gate or not Baldur's Gate? What's the RPG they're doing?
Dragon Age.
Dragon Age, yeah.
This is the difference between being a great band mm-hmm. and continuing to be a great band.
Okay.
Metallica is the greatest heavy metal band of all time. You want to know why?
Because Kirk Hammett interviewed with us?
Nope, that is one thing. Okay. But they're great because they're still putting out great hits. They are still continuing to put out good music. Mm-hmm. They're not just reliving their old hits. BioWare hasn't... What's the last good game BioWare put out that it was not a remake? Don't worry, I'll wait. If you need this, you can use it.
I don't know, man.
That's my point.
I just told you Mass Effect Andromeda was alright for $10.
It wasn't even alright for $10. Because you want to know why?
Why?
Remember we talked about this? The last third of the game, we were like, why were we on this planet before?
Yeah.
And we were like, imagine the screen textures that were bad after they patched everything. Mm-hmm. Imagine how bad it was in the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
man, you remember those memes of like the lady, all the characters looking horrible? Yeah.
So I say this to say about BioWare, Capcom is kind of getting better right about it, but they're basically riding the coattails of one franchise. You want to be great. You want to continue to be considered a great developer, a great maker of video games. Continue to put out hits. Don't just keep regurgitating the same thing over and over again and then thinking we'll buy it like we're Nintendo idiots.
You ain't had to come at me like
I didn't come at you.
You said Nintendo idiots. I'm a Nintendo idiot.
I'm just saying, I love that BioWare did this. No one was expecting it. Everybody was rumored it was happening. They've updated all of the mechanics, the graphics, and I'm all for it. I do want to jump back in and play Mass Effect again.
Ryan Porter, am I up on Returnal? I'm not yet for two reasons.
$70.
I don't want to pay $70. Also, I still have a 1080p TV. I want to experience it in the full 4K glory. So maybe once I buy a TV, maybe the game will be down in price by then too. So I have not played Returnal yet, but it looks great. I've seen a bunch of Let's Plays on it. It looks awesome.
But that's the problem that I have with BioWare, that I have with Capcom, and I have with Square Enix. Make something new. Continue the legacy that you've created and continue to make great games.
Yeah.
The amount of money that they put into Final Fantasy VII, imagine if that was a brand new Final Fantasy.
I mean, they are. It's called Final Fantasy 16. Have you seen it? That trailer looks great.
It does. How does it play? So that in other words,
I'm hoping it plays like Final Fantasy 7.
That's what we're hoping. But
yeah,
what if they spent all this money making Final Fantasy 7 and 16 sucks?
That's true.
Because
I don't think so, but I get what you're saying.
But that's what I'm saying. And that's why I said I'm not letting people off the hook that charged you $60. Because this is the thing, and this is why that conversation we had, was it 2 weeks ago? The creative director for Days Gone,
might have been
where
2
I
weeks
was
ago,
like,
yeah.
Screw that dude, friend of the show.
He doesn't even remember your name.
That's how little right now. Although, if you do contact us for an interview, we will interview. But that's why I have such a disdain for those comments, because you're taking $60 to $70 out of people's pocket for a property that should play out the box. No patches, none of this crap.
Yeah.
Your game should work. And then I get it for $10 and it's still buggy? That's what I'm saying. That's the problem that I have with the BioWare. BioWare, bring out Mass Effect 4.
Zayla Maru, you asking where's your Final Fantasy Tactics remake? That's a great question. If you have a Switch, actually, you think you play it everywhere now. Octopath Traveler, made by Square Enix.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Great sprite-based animation, kind of harkens back to that old 2D RPG style. And I want to say it's definitely on Switch because that's where I have it. But I think it just came to PC and Xbox. But yeah. It's not a tactics game, but it might give you that kind of feeling in just terms of the graphic nostalgia stuff.
But yeah, I've seen all these videos, the reviews, Mass Effect, and I'm really like trying to fight not buying that game. But I will tell you, because it's 3 games, so I'm like, it might be worth the price. But I might wait till it comes down. Just because you repackage a greatest hits, that doesn't mean you're still like. That means you were a great band.
Sure.
Like, perfect example, Creedence Clearwater Revival was a great band. I listened to their songs religiously. They are not a great band now.
What are they making now?
Nothing. But the 2 of the original members are still performing the hits. Tom Fogerty just basically torpedoed the whole group. Anyway, you can read it online. But anyway, I say that to say they were a great band. They have a great greatest hits collection. That doesn't mean they're a great band now.
Sure.
BioWare was a great developer. Prove to me you're still a good developer by showing me something that plays well, isn't a cash grab, and isn't a greatest hits.
I mean, maybe that'll be the new Dragon Age.
I'm hoping.
And
I'm
the new
hoping.
Mass Effect.
I cannot wait for Solus to show up so I can see what's going on in Dragon Age 3.
I am curious, like, if they're working on any new IPs. Because and people who are in the know more, let me know, but I feel like they had 2 studios, one that was doing Mass Effect and one that was doing Dragon Age. they kind of had the Anthem studio, but now that Anthem is shut down, I wonder what those folks are working on, or if they just got split into the other teams.
Because my thing is this. I think there's enough in Expanse that if you did it right, Anthem could get a sequel. And I know that Anthem next...
What?
Yeah.
No. You said Expanse.
Oh, did I say Expanse? Because that's what they're talking about.
Okay, I was like, wait, so no, you're talking about Anthem. Okay,
Anthem.
That's right. All right.
Anthem, to me, there was enough of Anthem that I felt like they could have saved it with Anthem next. And I really think that they could have done an Anthem 2. I really felt like if they had fleshed out all of those problems, you could have gotten an Anthem 2. Same thing with Capcom. I loved Resident Evil 2 Remake. I'll probably play 3. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Ryan Porter, what studio house has multiple great hits? Naughty Dog.
Oh, yeah.
Say what you want to about Last of Us Part 2. It sold well, and people regard it. Last of Us Part 1,
hell,
Uncharted.
It was BAFTA's Game of the Year.
Yeah.
It was Jeff Keighley's Video Game of the Year. Don't get me wrong. Regardless of how controversial the game is and is, it is amazing to look at.
Sure.
And the way, remember, we talked about this when it comes to Sony's God of War. The transition from gameplay to actual cutscenes or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Seamless.
Yeah.
And Naughty Dog, holy cow. Now, don't get me wrong. They still don't have doors down well. But I'm not quibbling over doors.
Yeah.
But as a technological achievement, the game was amazing. And keep in mind, that was the last game that was on the last generation. So imagine what these companies can do going forward. I watched IGN talk about Ratchet and Clank and the fact that game, excited. When you shift through the Rift worlds, there's no load screen. That's one of the things that the elevator scenes in Mass Effect is they're getting away with.
Right.
Because that's how they would hide loading screens. Now,
has anybody in the chat played the new Legendary Edition of Mass Effect? And I asked that to say, for the first game, did they get rid of the elevators? What did they do?
No, they're still in there, but you have an opportunity to skip some of the elevators. But they do say don't skip all of them because remember there was dialogue that you had in elevators. But I was watching Next Console Watch, so this is not my idea. I don't want to steal it. But one of the things that I say, the reason why I bring up, don't keep giving me remakes. Use this technology to expand and push gaming to the future because Ratchet and Clank is using an idea that you can go to different worlds through these rifts. Yeah. Somebody brought up, and then IGN saw it was on their Twitter feed, and brought it up and said, why don't you just do Into the Spider-Verse?
Well, for Ratchet and Clank or whatever? Oh, are you saying for them Spider? Yeah.
Imagine if you did the video game style animation from Miles Morales' world, transferring into Spider-Man Noir, into Penny Parker's world, into Peter Parker's world. Yeah. Seamlessly.
That'd be very cool.
That's what I want. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I love the idea that we're getting a Mass Effect. Show me that, like, move the gaming forward. Blow my mind.
A little bit of housekeeping. John Donuts, happy to see you in here. I saw that you said notifications for YouTube suck. Don't know if you're following us, and I guess anybody. Don't know if you guys are following us on Instagram, but I usually try to tweet the day of what time we're going to go live on Instagram. And normally it would be more consistent. It's just, it kind of depends on what the news of the day is for us.
And our news sucked today.
But yeah, if you follow us on Instagram, News 19 Nerds, then you'll know the day of what time we're going to go live.
Don't watch regular news. I don't know. Just watch us. I didn't know who to go. I didn't know who to give shine to.
I get you.
But yeah, that's my problem with these remakes, because that's what I want to see. Give me a mech game like Zone of Enders on next generation. Like, imagine.
I would like a new Zone of Enders game.
Imagine. Did you ever play Titanfall 1 or 2?
No.
Imagine.
It's on Game Pass now, right?
Yeah.
Because it's EA.
Imagine the mechs you could play with in a Zone of Enders or a Titanfall. A Titanfall 3 on a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. Like, we've seen what racing games are going to look like.
Yeah.
We've seen what Forza is going to look like on the Xbox Series X. Take that a step forward.
John Donuts, News 19 Nerds, all together, all lowercase on Instagram.
Yeah. I got to upload.
You'll see cartoon versions of us on there.
I got to upload some more stuff on Insta.
Yeah.
I need to learn how to do Insta more.
I mean, sure.
Yeah. But,
What got you through the week?
That damn Michael Che. So you know Michael Che wrote a show while the Saturday Night Live was going on, right?
I didn't know he wrote a show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Colin Jost helped direct it.
Mm-hmm.
Son, everybody from Billy Porter to Method Man.
Where's it at? Where can I see it?
HBO Max.
Okay, cool.
It's 6 episodes. When I tell you it is the funniest thing I have seen this year, episode 2.
Don't tell me anything. Just
Not all of a sudden, each show has a theme. The first one is law enforcement. Second one is relationships. One is vaccines. Like he covers a lot of it.
Okay.
Let me tell you right now, I have watched that 6 episodes 4 times each.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, son, it is hilarious. That damn Michael Che. Yeah, it spoke to me.
Yeah, Rayshawn K. We remember Steel Battalion for the original Xbox. I am
Remember that
somebody.
$70 controller?
Oh, I think it was more than $70.
When I saw it was $70.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
I probably saw it late.
Brand new. I think it might have been 200 or something.
Good Lord.
I would probably buy that controller if I could find one in good condition. I would probably buy one just for a collector's sake. That's not a challenge to spend my money. I'm just saying I would. Yeah.
Should have never told me that.
So that was it for you? Got you through the week?
That and The Bad Batch is out. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a 3rd episode. And I'm playing Warframe. So
Okay. For me, what got me through the week, continuing to play Empire of Sin right now. I'm building a huge criminal empire in Chicago as the ultimate gangster, running booze throughout Prohibition Chicago. It's great. What?
You want to pay?
No, I don't want to pay any of those crazy prices. And TV-wise, still watching Schitt's Creek. Been watching a lot of Let's Play videos of people play through stuff. I would never personally play Resident Evil 8 because I'm too scared for that, and it kind of makes me nauseous with the field of vision.
Hold on. Village is 8?
Yes.
Man.
Yep.
I thought it was 7.
Nope. 7, because 7 they were in the Baker House Mansion, Louisiana.
Yeah, I didn't play that.
Resident Evil 8, I really enjoy watching somebody play it. Fun story.
Because you said that the game engine makes you...
Yeah, something about the way they've made it is too intense for me, and I get nauseous in it. But I can watch other people play it or whatever. Really enjoyed watching the story of Resident Evil 8 Village. And tonight I will probably be playing Mafia 3 because I'm really enjoying that story right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ty Williams, you're right. Titanfall 2 story mode is the truth. And I know because I got our boy, Jack Cooper, right here. I had 2 of them, had to sell one. I did not buy the mechs, but if you like Titanfall, Ty Williams, go look up a company called Joy Toy. They make the mechs that look like the mechs in Titanfall, but they just don't have the license. So they just call them different names.
No, she is not enough for me to brave Resident Evil 8.
I would.
Nah.
I would.
Not final form.
Death by Snoo Snoo.
You need to see her final form where she's like, oh no.
Oh, it's like that?
I'm just saying. Lady Dimitris is not who you think.
Oh, so it's not Death by Snoo Snoo?
It's not.
Oh.
It's not.
I want to get back into it. The not Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, but I'm not sure. Like I hadn't been sold yet. Anyone enjoying Amazon Prime lately? Oh, Amazon Prime is cool. I love that's where I go to watch stuff like when I'm cleaning and I have it on in the background.
I'm excited for Resident Evil series. Somebody was asking about the Resident Evil series. I'm excited just to see it. Yeah.
Love, Death, and Robots came back, so that's out this week.
Yeah. That's about it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, folks. Like we said, we got to go do a news program here in Columbia, South Carolina. So I got to go finish up that show real quick. But that's it for us.
Yeah, if you like this original programming from the News 19 Nerds, like, comment, and subscribe. Share. Let all your other people know that this is one of the most real shows on the internet because we pull no punches.
I tried to make it so that we don't curse a lot.
Hey man, you brought up Mass Effect.
I'm just saying.
That's your fault.
Okay.
That's your fault. Don't bring up Mass Effect like that and surprising me and talk about it. You go get it. I mean, we all knew I was going to get it. It just was, my wife wasn't watching, so I could admit that. And she doesn't go back and watch. So if I can say it now and get away with it, yeah. Yeah.
IMAX, hope your father is
yeah, IMAX, well. Yeah. Prayers for your pops. You guys, hey, protect your mental. Because I'm letting you know now, this week has been hard, but next week, whoo, that news they dropped today, man. I think that's it. We're out. Peace.